2, 1, here we go! Podcasting from the 84 Design Studios in Greenville, South Carolina. This is the Almost a Show podcast. Now heard on your iPhone and Android with the Stitcher app.
Well, we welcome you to the Almost a Show podcast. I'm Sean, and those lovely people below me is Fred from St. Louis, Missouri, stuck in the middle of all the Ferguson drama. We have, of course, the JCast at the JCast.
What's going on, everybody?
And my favorite, he is from ChrisTheTalker.com. Chris with a K, because why would you spell your son's name with a C? Chris. Chris, you have to use your microphone to talk.
Oh, hi, hello.
Yes.
Just waving. Hello, everybody.
I thought this was a video program as well, so I could utilize that. But so you're saying it's not?
Well, it is. There's just not that many people that watch it yet.
I understand.
Yeah,
okay.
It's more of a we record it to see our sexy faces, and then we post it to Stitcher and iTunes. So
I'm sorry. Can you point me to the sexy faces? Because I see three other guys.
Oh, there we go. Oh, you're so mean. You're so mean. Anyway, we welcome you to the Almost a Show podcast. Usually we're funny and hilarious. We like to laugh, but I don't think us making jokes about Michael Brown and Ferguson tonight are going to be at all hilarious. So we bring in experts. Fred from St. Louis, and of course Chris, you're the political guru, man. Everyone should actually check out ChrisTheTalker.com and the Felt Recoil podcast. I want to start with you, Chris. You have all the facts, and actually, you said tonight that some breaking news has happened. I didn't know this, and I saw it on the blade.
Yeah, well, I'll assume I know what you're talking about here.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's fact, is what I would say. Let me preface, before I say anything about Michael Brown and Ferguson, Missouri, that we were kind of talking before we started here. I think it's important, and not to be overly geeky about this. Where are you going? Is the show over? Did I not know the show was over?
All right, everybody, thanks for joining us.
I can't do this. This is going bad.
It's not bad.
I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Jay, is this how the show goes every time?
It's Sean likes to say, "Oh, it's a work in progress," but it hasn't gotten any better over the 5 weeks.
This is the laziest program I've ever seen. What program does the host go, well, here's the topic. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to go mix a drink. I'll say, all right, anyway.
Right.
All right, now he's back. Here's the problem. How are you going to understand any context? What would happen there is I would give my little spiel.
He's relying on me to do the heavy lifting.
Exactly. I'd give him the spiel, and then you'd come back and be like, oh, what's he talking about? Jay,
it was pretty much when you got to, and I don't know if this was fact, and he's, all right, everybody, you just keep talking, just keep going.
In the area that I'm in, the computer that's on is like so loud, I had to go shut it off. And we had already talked about it prior to being on the air, so I knew what you were going to say as I walked away for the 3 seconds.
Okay. Let me make this point then before we say much, or before I say much about Ferguson or anybody. The thing that is irritating, regardless of which side you're on, as Fred was saying earlier, you're going to find people on both sides, few people in the middle. One of the things that's great about our legal system is everyone gets the presumption of innocence, and I don't think anybody's gotten that in this case. I think people, they kind of deemed the cop guilty, Officer Wilson, from the get-go, and some people deemed Michael guilty from the get-go, and nobody knows. The cop and Michael know. Maybe there's some eyewitnesses. That breaking news you were talking about was the fact that supposedly, and this is a big if, there's a radio station, Z100, I think, something there in St. Louis, who's claiming that Michael's accomplice in the robbery is changing his story to say that Michael did charge the officer. If capital ifs all the way through. If that turns out to be true, I think it's a major game changer. But the other, here's a few things that are worth pointing out. We know Michael robbed a store. That's not in dispute anymore. His friend there admitted it, and he's on video plain as day. It's him. We know he was essentially a fugitive on the run. And then we know he had an altercation with a cop that led to his death, and I think that's sad. I don't think that's something to take lightly. I don't think the police ever take that lightly, and I think it stirred up a lot of emotion. I don't know what emotion is justified in that situation. Obviously, you wouldn't ever judge a parent's grief over their child, but I tend to wonder what do people from Chicago have to do with a young man in Missouri losing his life? Why are they there rioting and looting? 7 of the people arrested yesterday, I think that's important to point out for the people of Ferguson, the vast majority of the people being arrested aren't from there. And so you're running into this situation where outsiders are coming in, kind of hijacking and looting.
Can I piggyback you a little bit right there?
Yeah, go ahead.
So last night, what was last night? Last night was Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
I think I saw there was 35 arrests last night. And of those 35 arrests, 4 of those individuals were from Ferguson, and that's fine. But the way that St. Louis is laid out, Ferguson is only 20,000 people probably. And the entire St. Louis metro area is roughly 2.5 million people. So with only 4 of them being from Ferguson, no big deal whatsoever. I don't live in Ferguson, but I live 15 minutes from there, so I would not be from Ferguson. Right. So if you play it that way, it's over half of them are from St. Louis. But you do get some outlanders. You get guys from Texas or guys from Chicago or whatever. But, I mean, that's the Midwest. Everyone's here.
Yeah. Well, let me just summarize, and I'll be done. My point is just that I think it's only appropriate that everybody kind of slows down, takes a deep breath, and let the facts come out, evaluate what's true. And Sean, I mean, we're Facebook friends. I haven't expressed much opinion either way. I have said that I think the narrative is falling apart. This myth that Michael was some sort of gentle giant of a young kid looking forward to college. You'd like to believe that, but all of that's been proven to not be true. Strong-arm robbery. He wasn't going to college. He was enrolled in a trade school. Yada yada. All that aside.
But isn't it the media like trying to paint him as this angel of a child? And I wanted to
some of them.
Because the link that you posted from theblaze.com says Ferguson officer Darren Wilson, beaten nearly unconscious, suffered eye socket fracture before he shot Michael Brown. Yep. Let's say it was the other way around. Let's say like this officer went ballistic and started beating the crap out of Michael Brown, and Michael Brown had a gun, and this officer went and charged at him. What do you think Michael Brown would have done? Wouldn't he have done the same thing and try to protect himself? Would this still be the same situation if
I mean, no, not at the sort of. I see what you're saying. You'd have to make the cop not a cop in that scenario for that to play out. It would have been a case shut if somebody with a gun points at a cop. But you're making a decent point, though. The fact of the matter is the cop was beaten.
Good job, Sean. You
but
did all right there.
I'm saying, let's say Officer Darren Wilson was a regular guy. Michael Brown was the cop, the black cop, and shot the guy. I mean, wouldn't this be...
If a black cop shot a white guy is what you're asking.
Yeah, wouldn't this be Ferguson standing behind Michael Brown as the cop, like being the hero? Like he was beaten unconscious and in the hospital. Like, wouldn't this then be... the complete reverse? But this cop, to me, if this story is absolutely true of him, his eye socket being fractured and everything, to me, it's like, this guy, I think people look at it as like, well, Michael Brown didn't have a gun, wasn't armed. Isn't being armed with your fist and a 290-pound, 6'7" guy, isn't that a weapon all in itself?
Yeah. I mean, fists and feet kill more people every year than guns do across the United States. That's a fact. That's an FBI statistic. I know Jay did his homework today. He might have seen that. But fists and feet are actually described as deadly weapons by the FBI. And again, a lot of that though is speculation. The point I'm trying to make here is that even if you just present the facts to people as they're presented, as you post stories from either side, you post the New York Post story with 2 eyewitnesses that say he had his hand up and was surrendering. You post a story from theblaze.com that says there's now 12 people, 12 that corroborate the story of the police officer. You get heated exchanges from either side. So I think it is important to slow down, evaluate the facts, and just remember, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, even Michael Brown and even the police officer, even-handedly, because either way you look at it, if you're going to prosecute Michael Brown or you're going to prosecute the police officer, you have to allow for the fact that you have to prove them guilty of whatever it is you're accusing them of doing. And to me, this will be an opinion, not as much of a fact, but to me, when you evaluate the situation as it is, the story of Michael Brown putting his hands up, surrendering peacefully, is quickly evaporating. But there's nothing to invalidate the officer's story from day one. And I think that's worth some discussion, but I don't think you're going to get a lot of honest discussion from different people about it.
Fred,
I'm done.
Mic drop.
I was going to say, that's like where Chris just drops the mic and walks off. Done.
No, I mean, I'm just saying, I feel like I just talked forever. Sorry.
No. That's why we brought you on, because you're this political expert. Not a political expert, but you're just smart at. And I've noticed that, like on Facebook and Twitter, you aren't like, you aren't either side. You're just kind of bringing the facts. And of course, I know, like, we have friends that are on Facebook, Antonio, that all he does is, and I think part of it is just not provoking, but I think he just wants to get a rise out of people, because you sent me the link of his raps, and I simply posted on our Almost a Show Facebook page, like, hey, here's raps from Michael Brown. I didn't say, oh, Michael Brown's a piece of shit because he raps. Mm-hmm. I just simply posted the link, and of course Antonio, a friend of ours, went ballistic.
What does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything? And it's probably too cliche to say, but if the story was that Officer Wilson recorded country music songs about shooting black people, that would be a massive media bombshell. That you would not stop hearing those songs on the television. But the fact that Michael recorded songs about murdering people, doing drugs, and really things I won't repeat that he does with his bodily organs, if you read the lyrics, to other dudes, by the way, you don't see that, because it doesn't really serve a purpose in bringing it up, except for the fact that the media narrative right now is that he was just some gentle kid who was carefree and skipping down the street, playing hopscotch with the neighborhood kids and passing out free peppermints, and that's just not true. It's just not the case.
No, wait, maybe it was, but maybe that was the day he snapped.
And maybe that's true. Okay, maybe it was.
Well, the thing with race too, and especially when it comes in this one-sided approach, is we have a history in the nation of not having the best track record when it comes to African American relations in regards to how white people treat them. So, regardless of how long ago that was, that's always going to be a factor in the United States of America for what it is. But the race card is the ultimate trump card. I mean, as soon as you say something and somebody goes, well, you're saying that because you're racist, you're automatically put on a defensive that you can't really back out of it, because if you try to explain yourself, you're justifying them and trying to explain, well, why you are or are not a racist. And at the end of the day, nobody wants to be put in that situation. So it makes it very difficult to kind of open up your side and start talking about it, because when you do, nobody likes to be labeled, in that light. Nobody wants to be even under the presumption that they maybe have a hint or a tone of racism underneath their narrative. And that's why it's so effective, and that's why it's so hard to get honesty and the truth about this, because racism brings up such vile feelings inside all of us. And
I know you guys asked me to come on to give like a little inside St. Louis, and I think I'm really going to be able to help out right here. So
bring it home.
I was born in St. Louis, and I lived in St. Louis 20 years. And then through my 20s, I was very fortunate. I left St. Louis, and I lived in Phoenix for a while. I lived in California for a while. We were just talking before the show. I went to Washington State University. And what we experienced...
We don't have to talk about that, Fred.
No, sorry about that. So what we experience here in St. Louis is completely different than anywhere else I've been in the country, where here in St. Louis, it is segregated. And here in St. Louis, it is racist. And here in St. Louis, it is acceptable to be those things. So I know you live in Seattle, for instance, or you live in North Carolina or wherever.
South Carolina. Everybody thinks they're from North Carolina.
Where that's a very sensitive issue, and it's a very big deal, because you don't want to be perceived as racist. You don't want to be perceived as a bigot. You don't want to be perceived as these things. But here in St. Louis, when the young African-American kid or the young black kid plays the race card, that is a mute argument in St. Louis. That is not heard by anyone, because that is the go-to move in St. Louis. So, for instance, when this story came out, 12 days ago, last Saturday, a young black kid shot in North County. Well, that's every single day, guys. That was 70 times in the month of July here in St. Louis, and that's not a made-up number. That is a fact. So what happens is that story happens, and then it's over, except whenever a young African-American kid in North County shoots a young African-American kid in North County, they go and shoot another one, and they keep shooting each other until they're done shooting each other because there are none left, and everyone accepts it. Nobody has a problem with it. except when the cops shoot you, you can't go and shoot the cops. So now it's time you have to make these stands and you have to do these things. And these neighborhoods, they experience severe groupthink. And Ferguson, and I think I was explaining before the show, St. Louis is set up in a way to where it's a lot of small counties, so that money from the southeast side of St. Louis does not go to the northwest side of St. Louis. I'm not paying my tax dollars in southeast St. Louis to build a park in northwest St. Louis. It's just the way it's divided up. With that said, all of these communities create tribes and they create this groupthink. So a single narrative will come out of an instance, and this happens constantly. This is not unique to the Mike Brown case. So Mike Brown fights a police officer, and he is shot, is killed, and all the details in the middle or whatever they are. But everyone who claims they saw it has the same story. Well, this happens all the time. This happened 2 weeks ago when this local kid was shot, and this happened 2 weeks before that. And then what happens, like happens every single time, they record these things with their iPhones, and they document these things, and then the police get a warrant, and they pull it out of the iCloud, and everyone's proved wrong, and there's a ton of prosecution for lying to the police, and and these things happen every time, and here in St. Louis we see it. We understand it, but across the country we don't. Across the country it's a big deal, and then Anderson Cooper comes to town, and now all of a sudden what usually takes us 2 or 3 weeks to settle out and figure out needed to be fixed over the weekend, I guess, or maybe before sweep started, and it wasn't fixed quickly enough. And then whenever you start putting the camera in front of people, when you start giving them the attention that they probably deserve but also desire, that's when this thing got crazy. That's when the thing was the first 2 nights peaceful protests. The night that when Al Jazeera came, that's when we're going to burn the gas station to the ground, and that's where we're going to do the things to keep you there. And it was...
So if the media disappeared...
Oh, what came first? I don't know, chicken or the egg, man. It might die. It might die down. It might just stop.
Well, go ahead.
And it's a very difficult thing to say because everything's sad and everything's a travesty, and no one deserves to die for any reason. But they do it all the time, and we do it here in St. Louis, and just like you were saying about Chicago earlier, what was it? 60? They had 65 murders in one day, or over a hot weekend.
Yeah, that was 4th of July weekend.
Right. So there's no uproar then, and it's the same thing. We had 70 murders in July, no uproar. So now you're hearing names of cops that you probably don't need to hear their names. You probably know who our district attorney is.
Yeah.
These things do not happen. Where they're not quickly resolved, and we're used to it here, but like I said, that's not the case everywhere. So now we're trying to expedite this whole process. Things are getting twisted and things are coming out, and I'm sure you guys saw in the news yesterday, the National Guard is in town now. Well, yeah. The National Guard is in town because there will be no trial. The grand jury will say, nope, this guy is fine, and that city is going to erupt. Mm-hmm. And because the National Guard is there, they're going to be prepared for it. And like, sadly enough, St. Louis does not riot regularly. We didn't riot during the 60s or during civil rights. We don't ever riot. And now that we're doing it, there's literally generations of pent-up rioting here in the city where people are coming from the surrounding areas, which makes your arrest statistics and makes all these other numbers that make it look like it's all these outside forces. They're not outside forces. These are the 2.5 million people that live here in St. Louis. 60% of them are black. It's a little over 1 million people, and they got a voice that needs to be heard and wants to be heard, and I absolutely agree it should. This is not how you do it. There's an interactive Google map that's going around in like our St. Louis metro area. 53 businesses, like 6 people shot, like several hundred arrests. What are we doing? Like, this is not how you respond to this, and I almost think none of it happens if Channel 5 just shuts off the camera, but they're not going to do that.
Yeah, and even with that, because you have the media fanning the flames and being race baiters, but I mean now it's political and it's to the highest office in the United States. It's not just the governor of Missouri saying we need to vigorously prosecute. One, that's unheard of. You would never see a governor of a state coming out and he's already passing judgment on the situation, which just seems to me like he's trying to energize his base and earn a re-election here when it comes around. But also the president, taking time away from the golf course for once and coming, to a press conference and pretty much saying what he said with Trayvon, which is, yeah, we need to let this die down, and yes, we need to have justice have its day, but
Hey, don't forget his jazz concert he went to. Don't forget the jazz concert.
Yeah, but but this is a
Chris's favorite
travesty,
guy.
and this is something that happens far too often, and this is an underlying issue here in the United States of America. And it's not. I mean, crime in the United States happens a majority of the time between similar races. In the black community, it's over 90% black on black crime. In the white community, it's 87%. And we keep hearing this fact, 2, African American males are gunned down every week that are unarmed. Well, the justifiable homicide defined by the FBI in 2012 said that there was 410 justifiable homicides by police departments. Of that, if it's 2 a week, that's 110. But that's only 25% of the justifiable homicides outlined by the FBI. In terms of total crime and by arrests, African Americans accounted for 28% of the arrests in 2012. And in terms of population, they're almost 20%. So what this is it's statistics. They're committing about 28% of the crimes, 25% of the justifiable homicides, and are about 20% of the population. You can make a story out of anything, but when you break it down like that, it's really just in line with, the state of the nation. It is what it is. But when you say 2 a week, instead of saying, 25% of the 410, 2 a week sounds like a lot larger number, and it's scarier than giving an actual fact and statistic about it.
Well, and going back to Chris, we were talking about the raps that you sent me, and our friend Antonio was so quick to jump and say, well, what does this have to do with anything? And my reply back to him was he sent me a photo of the officer sitting in his living room with a rebel flag hanging from his wall. So isn't it the same thing? Like, why would you send me this rebel flag? I feel like it's just it's Obama's fault, all of it. No, I feel like it's,
you put your hand over your heart when you say King Obama's name, please.
I do. And I wish I was at his $15,000 plate jazz festival he was at. I just feel like that like what Antonio did, where he yelled at me because, oh my God, I posted a link of his raps, and of course he probably never read the lyrics nor cared, but yet he's sending me these links of this officer with a rebel flag. It's like I feel like there's this race issue in America, and like Fred was saying, this is how it is in St. Louis, in Ferguson, but honestly, I think this is how it is in America. Like, Chris, you and I live in Greenville, South Carolina, and I yelled at you, Fred, because everybody thinks we're from North Carolina. I don't think people think there is a South Carolina anymore, but Chris, you can attest to this, man. Like, look at Nickeltown in on the west side of Greenville. It's the same way, where Fred was saying, we're all divided. There's East Greenville, where of course, that's where the rich people live. That's where Chris lives, is East Greenville. No, I'm kidding.
I wish. I live in Greer. Okay, if that sounds rich to you, come visit. Look, the problem is, I think we mistake class issues for race issues. I don't think it's always a race issue. Fred would know better than I do because he lives there. But I would almost counter that. I bet everybody that lives in those neighborhoods, apart from the skin color, probably is of the same socioeconomic class.
Oh, absolutely. There's no doubt.
And so that, to me, is a little bit more important to pay attention to, because we're talking about what instigates crime, what instigates the mentality of, what I would almost call, and it's going to sound really callous, so maybe I won't say that, but it's kind of perpetuating this idea of an obstructive system where you can't succeed because of who you are. And a lot of people want to say that that's a race issue, and there's a lot of people that grow up being taught because of your race you won't succeed, and because your race defines who you are. But you have people like Barack Obama, and you have people like Benjamin Carson, who go on to lead very prosperous lives. If you're familiar with Dinesh D'Souza from his super successful documentaries, the one thing that guy preaches that's worth listening to is the fact that he's an immigrant. He's a first-generation immigrant that came here from India and said, what I love about America is that they've introduced the idea of a competitive market to where no matter who you are, you can invent, you can innovate, and you can make money, and you can be super successful despite the color of your skin or the funny name you might have, as Obama would put it. So what I'm saying, and the way I think that relates, is that I think it's always a class issue before it's a race issue, but I think you have people that make a lot of money by making Michael Brown the story. And that's not an Al Sharpton joke as much as it's a media joke, as you guys were touching on. I think it was Channel 5 there that showed the police officer's house. Another one of the local stations almost figuratively and literally drew a map to the man's house. So, and you keep referencing our mutual friend Antonio, but Antonio's not alone, and that's all a product of linear partisan thinking. It's a one world view of this is the way it is, and because I've always been taught that, that's just the way it is. And I was that way once. I remember being that way, and I remember moving out of my parents' house, and at 19 having to face questions I'd never heard before, and wondering why things weren't exactly the way I had pictured them the first 18 years of my life. I think it's possible to remain in the same neighborhood under the same socioeconomic status and always feel like I can't do anything, I won't be better because everybody's out to get me. And I don't think that's a race issue. I think that's a class issue and a mentality issue. Let me put it from a personal perspective. My wife and I both work full-time jobs, and we both work second jobs. Both of our second jobs are worked out of the home, and we enjoy doing them. And that puts us in a bit of a better economic class. But is it because we're both white, or is it because we've both learned that if you work hard, regardless of what the work is, if you're just happy to do it and you put pride in it, you can elevate yourself to a different status? So how does that even relate to Ferguson? Well, to me, that relates to the Ferguson case because neither one of us are under the impression that we either A, deserve anything, or that B, the world will rain hell down upon us simply because of who we are. Now,
I'm gonna say John Lennon. John Legend.
John Legend is a prime example of somebody who doesn't know what he's talking about running his mouth. But let me go back to Jay's point earlier, which I think was very astute and very important, that there is a really horrid history of racial relations in this country, a really, really sour taste in people's mouths, and they have every right to be heard, and they have every right to protest and march and say, we've worked harder than this. But I would counter that, and I'm not disagreeing with Jay. I'm going to disagree with what we're seeing on the TV. I would counter that if Martin Luther King Jr. was alive today, that he'd go to Ferguson and tell all those little kids to go home, and that he's ashamed of them, and that he didn't put his life on the line so they could go and loot a QT and take home 6 bottles of wine. Justice, rest in peace, Michael Brown. That's not what it's all about. So anyway, all that to say this. If you're stuck on one idea and you've never had to step outside of that idea, then things that don't fit your story don't matter to you. And things that do, they do matter. So Michael Brown's raps won't matter to Antonio, but a Confederate flag, which, by the way, is the symbol of the Democratic Party, Antonio, will matter because to him, well, that's a racist, piece of material, and obviously he's in a picture with a racist piece of material. Maybe he's just always voted Democrat. Maybe he has a very strong tie to his heritage of Democratic voting since the 1860s when they started the KKK. Maybe that's just how Antonio feels about it. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's how the opposite feels about it.
Other side of the coin, like, legitimately, Ferguson is the ghetto, and he's probably super racist.
Could be.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Could be.
Ferguson is so bad, they built a highway around it. Like, and that's not like Ferguson is awful. And whenever people go into Ferguson, they go into Ferguson to buy drugs and to commit crimes and to get away from whatever trouble they have in their life. And then that officer or those officers, they deal with that every single day for 12 hours a day. Yeah. The only people that don't want to be in Ferguson are those officers, and they're forced to deal with the absolute worst part of it. And it's I don't know.
You know what I would like? I would like the ability in 2014 in the United States of America, the freest country and greatest country in the world, I would like to be able to sit down across from somebody I don't know and say to them, why do you act like that? And not have that question immediately be labeled racist. And I don't think that's asking too much. I think it should be okay to say, why are you guys behaving this way? Oh, what, we can't behave this way? We lost a young black man. Why does he have to be a young black man? Benjamin Carson made a fantastic point this week. Is it about the value of life, or is it about the value of a black man's life? And that's a fair statement, because, or a fair question, because you do have to evaluate, what do we care about? Are we willing to define ourselves as the people that only value one race's life more than another, or do we just simply value human life? We should be appalled, we should be sad because somebody died who's innocent, but we should also, and I'm not saying Michael Brown was there, I'm just saying that should be our natural reaction. We should say, I mean, where are we in this world when our police are gunning down 18-year-old boys? Well, wait a second. That 18-year-old attacked a police officer, pretty much slammed his eyes shut with his fist.
Yeah, and it's not a valuing of race, because if it was a value of race, then just move a little bit north and we'd be focusing on Chicago, which nobody seems to want to talk about, but it's turned into one of the highest capital rates in all the world.
But doesn't that make the point, though, that maybe it is a value of race? Because if it was a value of human life, we would talk Chicago. But because it's not a value of human life, we're only talking Ferguson. I think it's a value of opportunity. It's an opportunity to promote a narrative that sways a voting base in an election year. You know, as bad as it wants to sound, politicians, you know, they're not schoolboys. They're not, you know, going out there and doing all these great things for the country. They're opportunistic. And this is an opportunity to move forward a political agenda, but also an ideology, and a way to continue to fan the flames of a progressive movement. Because you need tragedies, and you need a narrative like this in order to say, look at how bad the system is working now. We need an overhaul. We need to continue to change what's going on. Very true.
And they'll jump all over it.
Very true. I want to make two things so we don't forget them. I want to point out a couple of things about the actual altercation that I don't think a lot of people realize and understand. But I'll start here. Remember that it's now a documented fact that Officer Wilson had what they called a massive orbital blowout, meaning his entire eye socket was crushed and broken in multiple places. That's a fact. That's indisputable. We have to ask how that happened. That's a fair question, okay? So we have to say, how did that happen? The police are claiming other things, but the one fact we have about the officer is his eye was demolished. So how did that happen? Number two, there's a lot of questions about how the distance between Mike and the officer when the officer began firing. So I want to point you to something that's another fact that can't be disputed. When you train with firearms, and especially when you train defensively with firearms, there's something called the Tueller drill, okay? That's Tueller, Tueller. It's named after the gentleman who discovered that the average human being can cover 21 feet in about 1.5 seconds. And so what they'll do with you is they'll take you out and you'll put your gun on however you conceal it day in and day out, and they'll time you. And they train you to draw quickly and fire rapidly and consecutively. And what you're doing there is you're making sure that within that second and a half, you can get a minimum of 2 to 3 shots off in order to slow the attacker. On top of that, you're trained defensively to do what's called, some call it a stitch drill, and commonly it's just called like a double tap, single tap, something like that. It's slipping my mind right now. But anyway, the stitch drill is to shoot twice at the silhouette in the vitals. Okay, so I would shoot twice in the chest, and then I would continue to shoot again. The idea being, as the assailant falls to his knees, I continue to shoot to make sure the threat is eliminated. And remember, this is a matter of 2 to 3 seconds. This has happened 100 times since I just started talking. The point here is you have to stop and eliminate the threat to your life before that threat eliminates your life. So try to combine those two facts, that you have an officer whose eye has been obliterated, who can barely see, is probably tasting his own blood, having difficulty breathing, who has a drawn gun and is trying to draw down a giant of a man and is saying, get on the ground, get on the ground. Now, if that giant of an 18-year-old decides to close that gap, that officer only has about 2 seconds to react. And
and just to piggyback off that real quick, I know we had another shooting in St. Louis last night, and officer killed a guy with a knife, and they said on during the broadcast that 21 feet is lethal for a night. So they can within whatever laws or rules they have, that is at 21 feet distance with a knife. Feel free to shoot that guy. Right. And what you guys don't know to me, because we've just recently met, I am 6.5 foot tall and I am 300 pounds, and I am very strong, and I am very intimidating to people at the grocery store, and I am very intimidating to people when I'm hitting a softball. And these are things that are just perceived. Like I have a presence about me when I walk in a room, and you can't escape that. Size speaks louder than words, and I live that life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and everybody's 30 to 35 feet, 30 to 35 feet. Again, let's break it down to not use a number that seems farther than it is. That's a first down in football. It's 10 yards. Yeah. So it's really not that far of a distance at all. Mm-hmm. People can run a 4.140, which is they're covering 10 yards a second.
Well, and Jay, Chris, you remember we had an incident here in our downtown Greenville area where there was a guy with a bat that was swinging it around, charging cops with a bat, and the cop ended up shooting and killing the kid. And the mother wanted justice, wanted to sue everybody in the world, and to me it's like, and this is in downtown where this doesn't happen a lot. Our downtown I feel like is very classy and upscale, and so for this to happen was very odd. But
I mean, it's important to point out that was on Main Street, just off. I mean, literally, you could see Main Street, Greenville, from where that happened. So yeah.
And of course, there were bars and clubs literally right around it. So it's like people could look out, the windows and look over the patios and see this literally happening. So people were walking by, and so I think people automatically want to assume that they know everything. Like you were saying, Jay, like 35 feet, and Chris, like you posted on your Facebook page, and actually the link that we shared to ours of the guy running 35 feet from where he's back to running 35 feet right up to the camera. He got to the camera like that, and he was an old man.
Yeah, he was kind of mocking himself in a way, saying I think he's 54, 56 years old, arthritic, and those are his words, not mine. And let me just say this: I hope he doesn't mind me saying it, but if you've shared that link and people are seeing that video, that's a smart guy to follow. And he kind of gave a life story the other day. He put it on Facebook, and he's not, I don't think I'm telling tales out of school here, but he kind of gave an insight to his life the other day that was very, very profound. But he put that video up, and I thought, man, that's a great way to demonstrate exactly what we practice when we go out and we train for these drills. But anyway, not losing track. Let me get back and just say this. There's a couple of legal things that I think are important to realize that kind of summarize exactly what Fred and Jay were both saying just now. In a hypothetical, if I was walking down the road and I come up on anybody reaching through the window of a patrol car, pounding a police officer, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to draw my weapon, I'm going to approach, I'm going to identify myself, and if the beating continues and I can get close enough and observe it, guess what? I'm allowed to use lethal force to end the threat to the police officer's life. Because I can make a safe assumption, and I'm pretty sure I'm right, that there's a bad guy beating up a good guy. In the case with the baseball bat, it's important to note that guy was beating another guy.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Baseball bat, and he actually wasn't shot by a cop. He was shot by a CWP holder. And in South Carolina, they have a third-party law that allows you to intervene to save someone else's life with deadly force. Last point I'll make. Disproportionality is a very, very important thing to keep in mind. As Fred was saying, 6.5 feet tall, 300 pounds. If Fred comes at me unarmed, right, or to make it probably more fair, let's say Fred attacks a 5'5", 135-pound gentleman with his hands. He just decides he's going to beat the bejesus out of this guy. Well, guess what? If that guy has a gun, he can use it and kill Fred, and he's going to walk like that. Because the law doesn't say that, well, he was only beating you up with his hands, and so you're really only allowed to use your hands to fight back, or maybe, like a softer club than a stick. The law doesn't look at it like that. The law says you have the right to disproportionately defend not only your life, but your body from imminent physical harm, something to that effect. Don't quote me. But the point is, everybody wants to gripe about he was unarmed. When you look at the stats of the officer, versus Michael Brown, just the facts. If it was true that Michael Brown was attacking him, judging from the measurements, the officer was well within his rights to use deadly force because he's not a guy. You know, I'm about 6'2", 235. So if the court looked at me and I'm bigger than them, they're gonna go, "Oh, he didn't have to shoot him. He could, you know, he'd have stood a chance." Then I might be in a little bit of trouble. I have to evaluate that. You know, I can't have a 5'5", 135-pound guy come up, kick me in the shin, and I pow. You know, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But if you're the smaller guy and I'm the adversary and I am being the protagonist, then the law clearly allows for somebody or myself to take deadly force and defend myself. And what's boggling to my mind is the idea that the general public would ever think that the person who chooses to defend their life from someone who instigated a confrontation should really be held in high question. Like, if the facts speak for themselves, and the facts should speak for themselves. I tell people quite often, I don't know if I could shoot somebody. I don't know, even if they were in my house. I say, you have to get into the mindset that you went home and went to bed, and that person decided to wreak havoc on you and your family. I got a 2-year-old son. I got a wife. We have a house, and I'm a little geeky, so we go through contingency plans. If somebody comes in, where do we go? How do we respond? What do we do? And the reason we do that is so that I can go out and handle the situation and then say, you know, here's why I did what I did, and here's how we did it. And anyway, you make all these plans with the idea being that we've already made our decision and we know how we're going to react. And if that guy, God forbid, makes his decision to come through the front door, then we're going to react accordingly, and there's nothing I can do to change that guy's direction in life. He took that direction, and unfortunately that's where it's going to end.
Yeah, I mean, we probably won't get into the story just because it's a little long, but I've actually, you know, drawn and presented my weapon to somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning that was throwing rebar at me, and it ended up he was very high on PCP. But it's not it's a situation that you think you can't do it, but if you get put into the situation, you'll be surprised. And it wasn't an easy decision. Luckily, I didn't have to, you know, even unindex. I was able to assess the situation and realize it's probably going to be better for me to just hop in the car real quick and drive to my apartments rather than make this decision. But it's scary. It's not something you take lightly, and I think it's the people that don't handle firearms are the ones that think Hollywood style, that, you know, you just pull your gun out and you're automatically able to, shoot them in the arm, shoot them in the leg, and you hit them once and they do a 360 and they spin around and fall back, and, you know, you got them and good job. You just reholster, put the cuffs on, and, you know,
it was just like the movies.
Yeah, and you get adrenaline, your heart races. Your ability to even
dog down. Come on.
Well, you know, let me weigh in on this, because that's a fantastic point that Jay's making. It's very, very hard to, from an outsider's perspective, if you've never felt like your life was in danger, or you've never been there where that adrenaline kicks in, it's hard to understand why you want to do it. I wasn't into firearms until probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, when I was sitting at home all by my lonesome in Birmingham, Alabama, and some dude started trying to kick my door in. And I looked around and I thought, what the heck am I going to do? And you know what I had? I had half of a pool cue, and that's what I had. So I grabbed it, and I got as loud as I could, and I was like, no, yelling at the door. And he went away. Turned out he was drunk. But, man, I mean, obviously
but had he gotten into your house, who knows what would have happened, you know?
I mean, well, that's the point, though. I mean, fortunately, and I'm not trying to say my situation was as dire as Jace sounded, but it woke me up a little bit, and I thought, what would happen if he got through the door? Like, what am I going to do? You know, because you know,
it's a little crazy to me, because I know you guys are in your late 20s. I'm in my late 20s, and you said just 6 years ago.
Yeah, that's it, late 20s.
Yeah,
thanks.
you thought you should own like a personal, like a firearm or whatever weapon you have, and I've always had one. Like, when we were coming up, you had to have one here, because those things were very real situations. In my neighborhood, not necessarily. That's not going to happen. Is it going to happen in the neighborhood over? Yeah, it sure as F is. Yeah. So if that's going to happen, so even when I'm 20 years old and I'm traveling across the country discovering myself, whatever that means, I brought my gun with me.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have to do, because that's the world I grew up in. So like I said, whenever Mr. Go Fuck Yourself, the police officer, is on YouTube now, and he's saying, that's not weird here. And it's weird for me to say that and admit that. It is not weird to, if you go into the hood and you start a scene, that you're going to get treated like you're in the hood starting a scene.
Yeah.
And I can get that there's an outrage about it, and I can get that people freak out when somebody says, I will effing kill you, get back.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not weird because that's all I know. I spent 20 years learning it. I've spent the last 3 years back here in St. Louis, so 23 of my 29 years, and I get it, man. If he doesn't do that, they will take advantage of him. If he's not the biggest dog in this fight that is full of dogs, the other dogs will get him. And it's weird, guys. Like I said,
Fred, before Michael Brown, how many black men were shot and killed by police officers in Ferguson?
Oh gosh, I don't have the number. An amount, and a large amount. The answer is a lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
In Ferguson, by a Ferguson police officer.
Oh gosh, I can't tell you exactly Ferguson because I live here in the city.
Sure.
In
St.
Louis Metro, it is a lot. I don't know.
It's a lot in St. Louis Metro. I'm going to tell you that I've heard the number is 0.
Stand by.
A Ferguson police officer before Michael Brown has never shot and killed a black man inside of Ferguson in an altercation.
See, yeah, but and that's a cool statistic if you don't live here. Ferguson is all of 2 miles square.
Yeah. Okay.
Like it's not big, so that's and like I said, there's not Busch Stadium is not there, the Kiel Center is not there. Like we don't have those attractions. People do not go to Ferguson.
Okay.
If we go 2.5 miles to downtown St. Louis, I mean your number is substantially higher. So yeah, absolutely, CNN, you killed it. That's a good Ferguson fact. Unfortunately, that's not the Metro. It doesn't mean anything, man.
So the Ferguson reaction, as you I think alluded to pretty strongly earlier, I feel like it's more centered around the Ferguson reaction is more centered around what's been happening inside the St. Louis Metro as a whole.
For 50 years.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. That's
why all of a sudden the media on this Ferguson? I mean, if you said that cops have been killing the people in the city of St. Louis, why all of a sudden all of this attention? This is to me, if it's happening in St. Louis in the Metro, is this just because this is Ferguson and this is a bad part of town? And
well, in my opinion, and this is all opinion, and I'll use your show as an example. Last week, you guys kind of broke the story. You didn't have any facts, and you gave all the wrong facts.
Oh, of course we did. That's what we do.
Right. But it wasn't due to lack of research, and it wasn't due to lack of preparation. It's because the wrong facts were out there, and people quickly absorbed those things. And it's 2014, and I know you guys know that, so we got to get our tweet out first. So we got to get our YouTube video out first. So we got to get our opinion out first, because if we don't, then 100.7 The Viper, which is the radio station you're talking about here in St. Louis, which, by the way, is like a 450-watt tower, which is about fucking microwave. They're going to get their story out there first, and I get it, and they're going to get the reaction they want. And night one, that Saturday, there were 100 witnesses to this crime, and 95 of them weren't there. And they all had the exact same story because they all texted each other, and they all had it squared away. And here comes everyone. Here come your pundits. But now, and this happens all the time. I cannot stress this. As the truth works its way out, and it absolutely will, they're all screwed, and they were oppressed again, and they were held back again. And it's probably true. They probably were. But that kid was dangerous, and that sucks, man. That it all sucks, and the whole situation sucks, and it sucks that I accept it, and it sucks that St. Louis accepts it, and it's great that the rest of the country doesn't. It's great that the rest of the country is bringing attention to it, because it is Compton here, it is Detroit here, it is Inglewood, it is bad. But I go to work every single day, and I have a podcast with a couple thousand listeners, and I enjoy my life. But people die all the time. Weird.
Damn. Wow. I'm sorry. That was good. Fred, I think Fred, we should have you on every week, man.
And like you guys, I have a day job too.
Tell us what we did wrong. That'd be awesome.
Well, no, I get what Fred's saying, because honestly, when Jay and I talked about like doing the Michael Brown thing last week, I was like, I told him, I don't know enough to like say anything for sure, and Jay was like, I'm the expert, I know everything, and so
that is not how that happened. But that's the thing. I mean, they've been doing it since the beginning. If you tell the same story over and over and over again, you'll get people to think it's true. And that's how the media cycle works. Facts are often inconvenient because they don't allow you to push an agenda. And that's, unfortunately, for the United States, that's what's happening here. It's this constant stepping forward in an agenda that's been, in the works since the 50s and 60s. You read the Coming Insurrection, which was written by anarchists over in France. Read Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. I mean, these are the things that are happening now are not happening by happenstance. They're happening because they've been a vision and a plan to put these into place for some time. And I know that may sound conspiracy theorist and it may sound over the top, but because it doesn't feel good, it's not a Miley Cyrus story or anything like that. It's where the world is going. And if you're willing to open your eyes and see these things, that the shooting in Ferguson happens all the time. It's a story because it provides somebody an opportunity to get ahead with what they want to do.
Amen to that. What was going to be a 15 to 20 minute conversation did take 51 minutes, and I'm not complaining. And I'm sure this is not the last time we'll talk about the Michael Brown case. And when we do, hopefully, Chris, we can have you back on because you have all the facts. In fact, the only news website you should go to is christhetalker.com. Chris with a K.
Don't do that. Fall semester starting up soon. It's going to be slow.
Also, yeah, the man works 3 jobs. He goes to college, and he also is a host of Felt Recoil, a podcast on Stitcher and iTunes. Fred, dude, I love your podcast name, Too Heavy to Skydive Program. I love it. From St. Louis, you can find him on Twitter at Too Heavy to Skydive. Jay and I are going to move on to happier things, which is called the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, talk about that. Jay, I think you're taking care of the audio there, right? We're good? We're great?
We're golden.
All right, we'll be back. There are many ways to listen to this unorganized debacle of a sometimes weekly show. You can check out the Almost a Show podcast from anywhere in the world with the Stitcher app. Here's how. Step 1, download the Stitcher app. Step 2, search Almost a Show. And finally, Step 3, add us to your favorite shows and enjoy. And voila! You will listen to the Almost a Show podcast every week, or when we're not being lazy.
Email your questions, comments, and bank account routing numbers to info@almostashow.com.
Someone told me it was just about to rain, and someone told me change. I never dreamed it could end like this. I never thought it could happen so quick. I didn't even know your name yet, and still I felt the whole world changing. Lightning doesn't strike
we
the
welcome you
same
back to the
place
Almost a Show
twice.
podcast. I promise to our one viewer watching us. One! We have one!
We had probably the same one that we had last week.
If you're the one viewer that is actually viewing,
Please comment.
Just comment
Please
below.
comment.
I want to know who you are. I'm dead serious. We appreciate all the people that actually listen to the replay on demand on Stitcher and iTunes. You can see our new website, almostashow.com. It is pretty.
It is glorious.
Is it not?
And I have nothing to do with that. So, Sean, thank you very much for all your hard work.
Look, man, you don't knock the clouds, all right? It reminds me of The Simpsons.
I was giving you a compliment if you would just sit back and take it.
I feel like you kind of bashing me, but to the one viewer, maybe it's us. Maybe we're the one viewer.
We probably
All
are.
right, let's see if I have it viewed on
And that's a shame because they just missed out on some good stuff.
Look, I promise you, when we mapped the show out, I was like, it's going to be 10, 15 minutes, so good, blah, blah. And no, but it was good. ChrisTheTalker.com. You know what I forgot to mention is that that Chris was the original host of Almost a Show.
He's the Godfather.
He is the Godfather, and I feel bad that I totally forgot that that he was the original host of the Almost Show podcast. So I feel kind of with one watching. Who is it?
Who? I don't know. There's no. Oh, we have new activity. Does it show up in the? Does it show up in the?
Sorry,
I like how when our guests leave and the show just falls apart.
Oh, Fred. Fred said, "Sorry, fellas." I don't know what he's saying. Sorry for. Fred was freaking awesome, and I hope we can have him on more. Actually, that guy was freaking awesome. And
right.
Sorry, fellas. Well, why are you sorry, Fred? Why are you sorry, man? I think they're mad because we ejected them out of the.
Yeah, it wasn't the nicest way to say thank you for spending almost an hour with us and giving us great substance.
Well, we had
hitting
to
the eject button.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to be mean. It was just I knew that we had to get on to other things. By the way, you can go to almostashow.com, and that's where you're going to shop with Amazon.com. Don't go to Amazon.com anymore. Don't do that.
Don't do
it. Go to almostashow.com. Down there on the bottom, you'll see the Amazon link, and you can do all your shopping there. And it's really cool because when you shop and you check out, it'll give you good luck throughout the entire year if you shop through almostashow.com. So do so. We would appreciate it. Jay, I don't know if this has hit your area of the pot-smoking West Coast. The Ice Bucket Challenge for ALS. Have you watched any of this?
I don't know how you can avoid it at this point. It's finally started though where average, like your friends on Facebook are starting to do it, and it was just celebrities or major personalities. And I kind of feel now that my friends are doing it, it's not as cool as a thing anymore.
I'm going to take credit. Actually, Greenville, South Carolina, not North Carolina.
Fred said he's sorry. He's the one listener.
Oh, well, that's fine. I like that Fred's listening. I mean, we'll gain more, hopefully. We have 0 viewers now.
He left.
Fred, sorry, I'm the one listener. No, we appreciate you listening, Fred. Honestly, Fred was freaking awesome. Again, you can find Fred at the Too Heavy to Sky program at Too Heavy to Skydive with 2, the number 2.
Word on the street, they're going to start back up. Their last show was in May, but it's good listening. So once you're done listening to the Almost a Show podcast, Felt Recoil podcast, Say What Pod, put them into the rotation because the backlog's good.
Anyway, so back to the Ice Bucket Challenge. I'm going to take credit because when the Ice Bucket Challenge happened, it was about 6 months ago here in Greenville. Like, people just started dumping water over their head, and I didn't understand it. I was like, okay, so wait a sec. So, let's see, $100 to ALS, okay. Or you dump water on your head to get out of it. What?
Well, I think you're still supposed to donate $10 if you dump the water on your head.
Come on, $10.
$10. They've raised over $15 million.
So 100 if you don't do it.
Right.
10 if you do.
Yeah, and when it first started and people didn't really understand what the cause was, I have some friends still down in Southern California, and they were under the impression, so why is it a punishment to dump cold water over your head when it's 105 degrees outside? So now that it's coming to light that it's actually a good cause, they're like, oh, now we get it. But when it was first started, it's like, that's not a punishment at all. That's refreshing.
It should be $50 though. That's what I think.
I don't know. Well, it only says 10. You can donate whatever you want. If you're feeling, altruistic, you would like to give $50, then go for it.
Charlie Sheen had the best one. Have you seen the Charlie Sheen video posted on our Facebook page? You can find it at almostashow.com.
I have, yeah.
Charlie Sheen decided to just dump that fucking $100 bills over his head.
Total amount of $10,000.
Yeah, I mean, no big deal.
That's how I roll.
I know he's a little off the rocker and his brain isn't all there, but that was pretty badass of him to do that, and it was pretty clever. Weird Al had a pretty good one if you go check it out. And the Foo Fighters, I want to say, had one yesterday, something. I think they did the. What did they do? Hold on. We're doing it live.
I think the best one I've seen is a hockey player was up in Canada. I think he was in Canada, and he went to the top of a mountain and actually had a helicopter dump the ice and the water on top of him. That was pretty ingenious.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that one. Like, that's the thing. Like, do it creatively. Even if you're gonna dump water over your head, find a creative way to do it. Don't just dump water.
Do it with the ice. It's not just water. It's supposed to be ice water. It's the ice bucket. I've seen a lot of people lately just dumping water on top of their heads, and that's not how it's done, people.
I can't find it, but somebody dumped blood over their head, or well, what was supposed to be blood, to mimic the movie.
Was it Carrie?
Yes.
You're welcome.
Foo Fighters, Red Hot Chili Peppers, one of them. I don't know. And then, of course, now you've seen the bloopers. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I posted that. I reshared it from when we posted it on the Facebook page. You know, it's probably not as fun when you actually have the bucket fall on your head as well. That's not too good.
Yeah, well, yeah, the bucket was being dropped over the head, like especially like off of like balconies. Yeah. So anyway, we appreciate the one view. God, I wish we'd have like, come on, more than one viewer. What's going on with this, man?
I don't know. Everybody seems really excited until go time. Maybe we're not promoting it correctly.
Yeah, I think
it's too complicated.
I think the fact is that we need. I don't know.
Or we probably let them know in some way, shape, or form that we were talking about Ferguson, and we've burned enough bridges on Twitter over the last 2 days.
Yeah,
to show that we're maybe not.
Good.
No, just to say that either one, they're burnt out, or two, we're going to offer a side of the story that it seems like the majority of people on our timeline don't agree with what we have to say.
I mean, that's it right there. Fred's slow, man. That's all I got.
Fred.
He's not even the one listener anymore because he dropped out. We got zero.
He's gone.
Anyway,
he was on the show and he got bored with us.
He was like, man, forget this. Anyway, so I want to talk about the solar panels killing birds. I don't know much about this story. I don't believe you. I think that it's something else killing these birds. Moving away from the Ice Bucket Challenge, which is the dumbest thing in the world. Just donate the money. Quit being stupid. Throw $100 down. It's not like you don't have $100. Quit buying Jimmy Choos or whatever they're called. Donate some money to ALS and help these people out. Jay and I want to do the Ice Bucket Challenge.
We're going to say how stupid it was and then say that we're going to do it.
Well, it is stupid, but of course you have to do some stupid things sometimes.
Right.
We're going to do it. We want to get more details and information later because we're going to involve some other people. But that's Jay. I wish I could come to Seattle and do a podcast with you and then dump water on your head. That would be the greatest thing ever. But I sadly only have $100 to donate to ALS. I don't have $1,000 to fly.
It would probably cost more than that to get here.
To fly to Seattle?
Yeah, I'm trying to get home down to Southern California for Thanksgiving. I've never seen flights so expensive. I don't know what the story is with that.
I wish I could drive
like
to see.
Like $200 to $230 round trip, and right now for one person it's almost $600 to $700. So
what's going on, man? Why?
It's gas prices.
Well, yeah, that gas is pretty cheap here, man. I'll tell you what. This is what you need to do. You screw it and just come live in Greenville.
I don't know. I kind of like Seattle. I'm fond of it.
You've never been to Greenville, man. I'm telling you, Oprah. If Oprah says something, you got to do it.
God, this is gonna be like every week. And in case you didn't, well, speaking of Greenville, did you know that Oprah said it's one of the can't-miss places to travel in the United States?
It's one of the must-see cities before you die.
There you go.
It is. Our downtown is amazing. It's so beautiful. And just stay away from West Greenville. You'll be all right. Stay away from those.
Every city's got its own bad spot though. So
no, it does. I know that. You know where I'm originally from, right?
Massachusetts.
The murder capital of the world, or of the country, Camden, New Jersey.
No, I thought that was. Well, it's probably Chicago now.
Okay, well, before Chicago's summer, it was Camden, New Jersey, and that's.
I think in New Jersey, and I just think of the mob. Italians and the mob.
Yeah, I think my uncle is actually in the mob. I do. Like, and it's funny. I'll tell you the story. We went out to dinner one night. This is pushing like 10 years ago, and I was dating this chick at the time, and she just met him, and he's got that thick the Yankee. What if can you imagine if I just stopped there? He's got that thick. All right, we'll be back.
You know him.
He's got that thick northern New Jersey accent, where he instead of saying huge, he says huge. It's huge, thick and huge.
Right.
So, we were sitting at dinner, and the girl I was dating at the time, she goes, "Well, what do you do for a living?" And he says, "Oh, I'm in real estate." And I said, "Don't lie, come on." And he's like, "All right, I'm not in real estate." She's like, "What do you do?" He's like, "I'm the mob." And she's like, "No, you're not." "Yeah." "Well, like, what do you do?" He's like, "I can't tell you." "No, you're not." So she kept saying, "No, you're not." And finally, he goes to reach, like, in his waist, like, near his waist, and she thought he was going to pull a fucking gun out. And she screams. I'm like, "What are you doing?" And he pulled his cell phone out.
Right.
And I was like, he's not in the fucking mob. He's in real estate for real. Come on. That's why I dumped her, because she's a freaking idiot. No, I'm just kidding.
It's either real estate or construction. Those
real
are the two
estate.
answers.
Yeah. Well, technically, it could be real estate. He could be finding some, some new land to bury some new bodies in.
Right.
Did
he pay for dinner, or did the guy come over and said, "Hey, Tony, it's taken care of"?
"Hey, Tony, guy in the back said it's all taken care of."
And did he "Oh, you're a good boy," and smacked him on the face, and then you guys left for the evening?
Kisses him on the cheek. You're
I
just
think I've seen Goodfellas one too many times.
You're a good boy. Say hello to my little friend.
You see Mickey here? Mickey's a good boy.
Carries his duffel bag out of the restaurant.
Right.
With 8 heads in it.
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, man, what's wrong with you, bro? I've never seen whatever movie you just mentioned.
Goodfellas?
Yeah, never seen it, man.
Oh, I don't know. That's a check back off of your man card if you haven't seen Goodfellas.
Weird, because I'm originally from New Jersey, and I've probably never seen half the mob movies.
Godfather?
I haven't seen who?
Godfather.
Yes.
All of them, or just
Okay, no.
You're missing out. It's good stuff.
I saw God, what was it? It's with Casino.
Oh, that's a good movie.
That's a good movie. Casino's a really good movie.
Yeah, if you like Casino, you'll love Goodfellas.
Maybe it's on Netflix.
I think Goodfellas actually may be on Netflix.
I'm gonna check it out.
It's always on either AMC. It's on one of those channels too.
I'm on Lost right now. I'm season 3. I'm trucking through it.
I'm watching The Killing.
Isn't that a Netflix show?
I think it was on AMC to begin with, and then they moved the last 2 seasons to Netflix. But it's set in Seattle, and it does rain here a lot, but it does not rain like it shows in The Killing. Every single scene, it's literally like somebody has a hose, and it's just standing on top of the car. It very seldomly rains that hard, so that's not true. They got the environment right, the feel of Seattle, the feel of the city, but not the rain portion of it, because it literally looks like people just have fire hoses on all the time.
Jay's like, I really like that movie, but the damn rain is just so fake.
The most inaccurate rain I've ever seen.
Hey, shouts to Fred. Shout out to Fred. Sorry, I'm the only one. I'm just going to keep this. I wonder if I can keep screenshots and just show them up. I know what's wrong with me. Anyway, I don't think we can save it. I want to talk about these solar panels killing birds. I know nothing about this story. All I know is that I don't think it's true.
It's 100% true.
You're going to have to convince me.
It's factual.
Okay. How is this? Wait, oh, snap. We got 2 viewers. What's doing?
Oh, hey, so since you're watching, the 2 viewers, go ahead and just type a comment in. I know it seems counterintuitive because...
In our pants.
In our pants. So
dude, the one viewer that just joined was like, fuck this. Who are these people? They're weird.
And we'll put it up. We'll give you a shout out. So just go ahead and type. And we'll be able to see it. Technology is awesome like that.
Sun. Hashtag legit sun. So anyway, solar panels are killing birds. We're waiting on people to comment in the YouTube comments in our pants. You just make a comment, hit submit. We can see it. We'll put it up on the screen. So these birds are landing on solar panels. We have 3 viewers. I don't know what's going on right now. What's going on?
It's blowing up.
Maybe we should start doing this. Oh, we got back down to 2. Never mind.
Yeah. They were on long enough to realize that they clicked the wrong link. Whoa!
Oh, I thought I was going to the Nerdist. What was going on here?
So the environmentalists said that we need more.
Now we got to be interesting. We're back up to 3 viewers.
Yeah. We alternative fuel. So there's a lot of sun in the Mojave Desert. Solar panels are going to be this great thing. So they've built this multi-billion with a B, $billion solar farm, mostly subsidized by the taxpayers.
Let me stop you right there. I told you, man. We had to talk about something other than birds, man. We lost that 3rd viewer. We're
gonna bring it back to. We're gonna talk about birds again. So if they want to come back,
how? I want to have $1 billion. When they started out in the 1920s and they had billions of dollars. How did you have billions of dollars? Who got that? We're up to 4 viewers. I don't know what's going on. I think what I think's happening. By the way, if you're viewing the podcast on YouTube, type a comment in the comment section in our pants right there. You see it? Hey, because there's 4 viewers and it's kind of exciting us. Now we're down to 2. Literally talked about my penis in our pants, and they were like, "Screw this, I'm out."
Well, I think it's because all they see. They just hear my voice since we're about to have a comment come in. You're a video hog and you're just keeping the camera on you instead of letting it rotate freely back and forth. I gave you control for 1 night. Bro. And this is what happens.
Bro, there you go. It's all you, man. They don't have to see me anymore, man.
So anyways, they built this big solar plant farm, whatever, and they're very reflective because they have to make it a mirror-like finish in order to get the most efficiency on the solar panel. So there's thousands of them in the Mojave Desert. Well, the problem with it is that they generate a lot of heat, up to, I believe it's 1,000 degrees Celsius.
So these birds are landing on it?
Reflecting off of these. So you can actually, 1,000 degrees Celsius. I don't know. I'm not European. We use the real metric system. Or do we use metric? No, we use the real system here. So we have Fahrenheit.
The real system. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah. So maybe it's 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Whatever. It's hot. You can't look at it. If it hits you, it'd burn you, incinerate you. It creates a death ray. And what's happening is that it's right in the path of the Pacific Migrant Bird Way, Super Highway or something. There's a legitimate name for it. It's the Pacific Migrant Highway, something like that. So these birds naturally fly over it to get to wherever they're going, and as soon as they fly over the focal point of all these solar panels, it incinerates the bird in mid-flight. It's literally a death ray. So they're realizing that, hey, this is kind of a problem. But they're saying the good outweighs the bad, and the amount of energy that these panels are producing is enough to, provide electricity for Jesus Christ is with us. That is amazing.
Wait, what?
Look at the comments. The comment is Jesus Christ, and his comment is me.
I don't see it.
That's incredible. Thank you, Jesus, for being on the...
Great. That's great, because the only comment I see is my boy Fred talking about, yo, I'm the only listener. I'm serious. Look, for the 3 viewers that are viewing,
Stan said instant fried chicken.
The object is having 1,000 viewers. I don't see the Jesus one.
You got your Google toolbox off to the right-hand side?
Yes, I do. I got what's doing, and there's 3 viewers, and they're sick and tired of us fucking it up.
Anyways, Jesus Christ says is me. Stan Ulch, I'm going to say that's the last name, says instant fried chicken, smiley face.
I mean, that's true.
Birds.
But no, that is true. That honestly, that's what I would do. I would, if I were hungry, I would just straight up throw
Jesus
them across.
Says it's him messing with the bird migration. So Jesus is here with us on YouTube, and it said he's the one that's controlling it.
The bird highway, as you called it.
Yeah, so the other problem is if they're not zapped by the death ray, they're thinking it's a lake or a body of water. So they're literally dive bombing these solar panels and crushing themselves.
Wait, is there video of this? If not, why not?
No, there's pictures of the birds with singed feathers and that have obliterating themselves dive bombing this lake in the middle, well, perceived lake in the middle of the Mojave Desert.
And they're dead. They die.
They're
done.
It's instant death if they're in flight. So they're just flying along like, I'm on the Pacific Bird Highway.
Wait, what's that
going
song
to California.
How do they do that? What's that song?
What's that song? California.
Yeah.
Instant Bird Highway. This is awesome. Zap.
Man.
Done.
I have a few people I hate that I would just throw seriously right across it every time.
Hold on. So I'm on. I don't know what this is gonna sound like. On the Bird Highway, flying around, going to San Diego.
The fuck was that?
Done.
No, that was supposed to be their demise.
Yep, that was it.
We gotta work on your sound effect skills, homie.
I don't have a degree in music or whatever you would need to run a soundboard.
Hey, for the 3 viewers that are watching the show on YouTube, we do appreciate it. To the 2, because the 1 dropped out. I want to say, Jay, seriously, I never expected, because before we got on at 11 o'clock tonight, I never expected music that you were playing to come out of your speakers, and it is seriously, like I expected, you know what I expected from you, like musically, off your iTunes, was like My Friend Stephanie or like Michael
what
W.
The
Smith.
hell? What is Michael W. Smith? It's like the only Christian artist people know.
Yeah, shouts to Jesus Christ. If you don't know who you are, Jesus Christ seriously is the best. Jesus Christ, they make this stuff happen all the time. Jesus Christ, that's just me playing with bird migration. Now they're starting to show up, and I like it. I don't know, I wasn't showing up for a second, but Jesus Christ is hanging out with us tonight. We do appreciate it. You can comment in our pants right there below if you're watching on YouTube. If you're watching at almostashow.com, you can just head over to YouTube, and we'll take care of you. But no, Jay, I just never expected like you to listen to like Jay-Z or yeah, exactly.
Strange Fruit Project right there. I'm taking it back.
Do you rap in your car on the way home? Like, what station do you listen to on the way home?
I was listening to Chris Cruz today on the way home, 94.1 KMPS. Shout out to Chris Cruz. What do I listen to? I listen to a lot of Postal Service, like that kind of music, because I do enjoy it. I'm not a fan of current rap, but I am a fan of like old school hip hop.
So it just, I don't know, I just never pictured you as that guy. Jesus Christ, would like to know, so what do you guys normally talk about? You know, Jesus Christ, normally we talk about anything and everything. Jesus Christ, if you have something you'd like to ask us or talk about, you can let us know, topics, anything like that. Maybe if you want us to talk about the Lord and our Christian values.
I do have Christian music on here, so that is another thing that I do enjoy listening to.
Do you not think it's blasphemy to have Jay-Z right next to Michael W. Smith?
I will say that I don't have any Michael W. Smith. I don't enjoy that form of Christian pop.
Wait a sec. Do you have Christian hip hop? Like, yo, my Lord and my Savior, he be sitting on the cross forever.
Why does it have to be like so? Oh, aggressive.
It's like, dude, you know what?
Actually, yeah, I do.
You know what? DMX should turn to Christian music.
Oh,
well, no, take that back. He did. He did.
Once I was bad, and now I'm back.
By the way, you know where Chris, we just had him on the show earlier, Chris, who lives in Greer, that's where DMX lives now.
Oh, really?
In Greer, South Carolina. But no, he did that. DMX did this, like, Lord, I really need to talk to you now. Like, he did some album or something about the Lord, and he was out of jail, and he was great. And it's funny because he was on Dr. Phil, like, months back, and I remember sitting there watching him on Dr. Phil, and he's like, yeah, I'm all cleaned up now. I don't do drugs. I don't drink. And so, like, we're all sitting there watching it, and my buddy Ant was like, shit, I saw him.
Yogi Bear.
I don't drink no more. Hey, no bitch. I got 500 baby mamas. Seriously, you know what's funny is that if they would release his like he's on like some restriction where he can't go overseas, if they would release that, he would make millions of dollars because like people overseas love DMX and they love Yin Yang Twins. Like, I have a buddy of mine who DJs.
Do the Yin Yang Twins still exist?
Oh yeah, dude. I was just saying, I have a buddy of mine that DJs for the Yin Yang Twins, and they go overseas to like China and England and like Japan, and they crush it. Like I'm talking like 9,000-10,000 people like are like, yo, from the windows to the walls, like just balls to the wall, loving it, and it blows my mind. And not saying like my boy doesn't do a bad job DJing, it just like you said, like really Yin Yang Twins are still like a thing. It's over here.
Not to stop your story about the Yin Yang Twins, but Jesus is blowing us up right now.
I'm behind. Wait a second. Am I behind on the comments or am I just down below? What's doing?
So we got Jesus' approval for my musical taste. He said he's feeling it up there.
Up there, dude. Him and DMX. Oh, up in here. Up in here.
So this is some Christian hip hop that I'm listening to right now.
Are we gonna get in trouble for playing this? Since we're not supposed to be playing.
It's not bad.
I just look. I'm gonna go to hell for saying this. I just can't get into Christian hip hop. Like,
well, there's lots of bad versions of it out there. That's just like over the top with imagery, and it's very just like Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Like, and that's good. Like, I'm a big proponent of expressing faith and giving worship in the way that you see fit, but that's not appealing to me, which is also why I don't really like Michael W. Smith, because it just reminds me of music that plays in minivans with moms and the kids in the back just like, yeah.
Like, true story. Like, I had a friend, like, I'm still friends with him, but I remember my first CD was Michael W. Smith, and it was a gift. It was my birthday. And I think that's what they were trying to do. Like, you need to save yourself. Like, you're going down the wrong path. Like, you work in hip-hop radio, blah, blah. And it's like, I remember working at the hip-hop station here in town, and true story, the girl I was dating, not the one that I talked about earlier that thought my uncle was in the mob, but another one, she legit, her mother was like, you're going to hell because you play that music on that station.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like...
She is a reason why people don't really care to have conversation with Christians. And unfortunately, and I mean, people... I guess we can start talking about this. People feel the urge to be evangelical and reach out in that way. But even as a Christian, that is incredibly off-putting. I don't even like talking to people like that. I don't need you, a sinner, to tell me that my sin is worse than yours.
Well, look, I'm just saying, like, even Jesus Christ agrees. Like, he says, no, we listen to all kinds of music up here, trying to get some people to come back up here. Satan is always so popular down under the earth. I mean, Jesus Christ even agrees, like, that, listen, DMX, I mean, all right, so maybe DMX isn't the best example of music, but you know, like, well, it's funny because I said, like, she was, you're going to hell for all this, blah, blah. True story. This was probably, like, I don't know, 5-6 years later after I dated her. Her youngest daughter ended up having, like, 20 kids. Like, the girl I ended up dating, like, and breaking it off, she ended up cheating on me and ended up like having like 2 kids. And then 6 years later, I saw all 3 of them, the daughter, the younger daughter, and the mother, just fucking boozing it up in a bar. And I looked at the girl that I was with, who was a friend of mine that worked in TV. I looked at her and I was like, that is your TV story right there. Like, if you were able to do a story on like Christian to like crackhead, there's your story right there.
Right. Well, that's the story of most people that will walk into church on Sunday and then as soon as they get to their car, cuss at their kids or go have a drink. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, you know, having a drink or anything like that. That's, you're not going to go to hell if you have a beer.
But
there is a big contingency of hypocritical Christianity, which is why there's very little credibility to saying that that's what you associate yourself with.
What I love about the Almost a Show podcast now that we're doing it live on YouTube Wednesday nights, 11 p.m. East, 8 p.m. on the West Coast of the pot smoking Seattle, is that listeners can now interact with each other. Stan says, "Hey Jesus, what up? Why aren't you a guest on the show? By the way, what's up with these money? What's up with these money changers? Say hi to Big Daddy for me."
G-O-D.
Yo, Stan was doing.
Papa God.
Stan Olich, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, Jesus Christ wants to know, are we both Christians? With, of course, a cross after his comment. By the way, if you're listening to this on Stitcher and iTunes, you can actually watch what's going on by getting the on-demand replay of the YouTube.
What? The Nerdists can have their ratings. We have Jesus with us right now.
I do love the Nerdist, don't get me wrong, but I seriously, we have Jesus Christ.
When's the last time Jesus was on their Google Hangout on YouTube?
I'm possibly last week.
So I am a Christian, Jesus. I believe that Jesus died for my sins on the cross, and I am undeserving of anything other than hell and damnation, but through the blood of Jesus I was saved. Go to church on Sundays, but I am not a preacher Christian. I'm not going to be one to tell you to your face that what you're doing is wrong and you need to repent and you're going to hell because I deserve the same fate that person does as well. I just happen to understand that I need something else than what my life could bring me. Jay, I'm not a preachy Christian.
But Jay, I'm gonna tell you something. I believe in God and Lord and all that stuff. But I will say that you kind of went soft on us there. Like, we're a comedy podcast, and you went all emotional. We lost a viewer, which might have been Jesus himself. Like, Jesus was like, "Whoa, yo, like this. I wasn't looking for something so emotional. I'm out skis," and he left. We got two now. He joined back. He was like,
he came back.
I'm giving them another shot.
Jesus always comes back.
I'm all for the God and the cross and Jesus and stuff.
You're Catholic. Are you Catholic?
No.
No, you're not Catholic. But you're getting married in a Catholic church.
That's what I'm doing. You know what I feel like right now with the music in the background? I feel like the Say What podcast. I do. I feel like we're on.
I think they're recording tonight.
I did. A big surprise, by the way, that I was going to tell you, Jay, later, but we're going to announce it now. We're going to find a way that all of us, the Say What Pod and the Almost a Show podcast casts, can all be on a show together.
Boom!
They're really cool guys. If you haven't checked them out and you're watching us right now on YouTube or listening on iTunes and Stitcher, check out the Say What Pod. Pretty cool show. Hey, dude, you know what? We'll talk about this and then we'll wrap up because I know you got to get out of here. Wait a sec. I have to get out of here because it's 12:30 at night East Coast over here. It's chilling.
It's still 9:30 here.
9:30. The news hasn't even come on over there yet. Jimmy Fallon is already done. Like, that's how late it is over here.
To be fair, Jimmy Fallon was done at like 2 this afternoon. To be fair.
Actually records at 3:30.
Oh, does he?
I don't know. It's just making it up.
You're just making stuff up.
Yo, actually, Jesus is still here. Wait, Jesus, are you still here? I haven't got any comments from Jesus. We're going to assume that Jesus Christ is still with us, commenting on our YouTube page. It saddens me that in today's world, I really feel like I'm on the Say What podcast. All right, guys. Is that the same music?
No, this is Jurassic 5. The Pride of Southern California. Jesus wants to be on the podcast.
Jesus Christ. Wait, can we get him in?
On next.
No, fuck that, man. Hold on. But Jesus Christ. Look, Jesus Christ, if you have Twitter, I want you to tweet us at Almost a Show. And if you have Facebook, I want you to write on our Facebook wall. Just search the Almost a Show podcast. Seriously, let's get Jesus in now.
Yeah, we can get Jesus on.
Hold on, let's see.
Just play some non-royalty-free music.
Is that what we're doing now? Like, we're good? You're not going to get us sued right now, are you?
I don't know.
Jay? Jay? Look, yo, for everybody listening, let me tell you something.
We're not going to get sued.
Jay was like, yo.
Oh, you know what we can play? Hang on.
Yo, what's up?
We have some royalty-free.
Do we have Jesus? Wait, it's like, do we have Jesus music we can play?
No, but we got our jam that we were on earlier.
I do like that. Can you turn it up? Hold on.
You just tell me when to stop.
Just turn it up, bro.
When you say
Jesus,
it
tweet
ain't
us.
love, when it's something like that, and I still thirst for you in the late night, even with the sun down, even in the daylight. I don't know why I'm running right back. When you say it ain't love, but it's something like that. You had me hanging from downtown. This opportunity was
Coming up.
I bet you Jesus listens to us.
Let's pretend we could just be friends. Call a second win. Now we're
Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
I can't expect to win when you're dressing
We're going to hell, bro.
I can't be held accountable for how we might get.
I'm looking on Twitter to see if he's hit us up.
in trouble. Hard to be platonic when I've touched every
He just
inch.
posted a comment, so we'll see what he's gonna say.
Well, you know, seriously, hold on. Turn down our Jesus music here for a second. We just got another comment from Jesus. Your comment section is lagging. You only get my comment every 10 minutes.
Yeah, there's a delay. Listen, we didn't create the Google system. We would love for it to, trust me, if I could find a way, and I research stuff for this show literally every single day, and I have not found something to make comment tracking instantaneous aside from utilizing Twitter, and that's just another thing that people have to be logged on to. So we're trying to make it good for you.
Jesus, if you're just stick tight. Hang on, let's see something here. We have 17 comments. That's badass. Hold on, let's see this. By the way, shouts to the new subscribers tonight.
We got new subscribers? Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for thinking we're interesting. Yeah, I promise, like, the front half of the show was important tonight just because it's topical and we kind of have that liberty since it's our show that we can talk about things that we want to talk about. But we are viewer-focused, and typically, though it's not this loosey-goosey like we're doing right now, it's fun. We like to have fun on the show. I would say that's the seriousness that was the first hour of this show is important, but it's not what it's like all the time.
Hold on.
I can see that you're in deep concentration on whatever you're doing right now.
Go into a spot. Let's see what's doing. Because I want to get Jesus Christ on the show. Like, Jesus Christ has a YouTube page. The kid's got like 6 followers, man. What's going on? Let's see what videos Jesus Christ has. I mean, he's got some videos, man.
This is just riveting radio right now.
Well, actually, we're gaining viewers. Like, you know what I love? Like, I listen to Howard Stern. I listen to Howard Stern a lot. And it's like this sometimes where he's like, I don't fucking know. And he's like looking up stuff. And it's very just chill. It's not like, all right, everybody, now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do this. Now we're going to
Coming up next.
Z100.
Come on back after the break.
I wish that Jesus Christ could...
Does he have like any links on his YouTube page to like a Twitter?
That is what I'm looking. Ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are watching still, we want to get Jesus Christ on now.
We are trying our best.
I don't think it's gonna happen. I can't click anything. What the fuck? Come on, iPad.
Come on, Apple.
I mean, Jesus Christ. It says Jesus Christ subscribed to our channel 18 minutes ago. And I wish these comment trackers would go quicker, but we're not doing it.
And what's really weird about that is that Google owns YouTube. So
Yeah,
dude,
dude,
they would find a way to like make this work in beautiful harmony.
I don't know what's going on. So we got 2 people watching the show. We got let's see. Jesus Christ says all music has been created through me.
Dude, we got to get him on. We got to get him on.
The last comment we got was from Jesus Christ. All music is created through me. I don't think it's going to happen this week, man.
We're going to shoot for it next week, though.
Jesus Christ, look, if you've got Twitter, son, wait a sec.
Devon Duke.
We might, all right, how do I... Jay, here's what we'll do. Play a commercial. Go in. Just play a commercial with a song, after it, and let's get Jesus Christ on, all right?
Got it.
All right, we'll be back, hopefully with Jesus Christ in moments. Hang on. There are many ways to listen to this unorganized debacle of a sometimes weekly show. You can check out the Almost a Show podcast from anywhere in the world with the Stitcher app. Here's how. Step 1, download the Stitcher app. Step 2, search Almost a Show. And finally, Step 3, add us to your favorite shows and enjoy. And voila! You will listen to the Almost a Show podcast every week, or when we're not being lazy.
Email your questions, comments, and bank account routing numbers to info@almostashow.com.
Someone told me it was just about to rain, and someone told me to expect a sudden change. I never dreamed it could ever be like this. I never thought it could happen so quick. I didn't even know your name yet, and still I felt the whole world changing. Lightning doesn't strike the same place twice, but it's what I feel every time I look in your eyes. And your love is taking me under, and right now I'm hearing the thunder of where we've been and where we're going. Your love is taking me under, and right now I'm beginning to wonder where we've been and where we're going.
I think I found Jesus. That sounded weird. I found the Lord.
Hello.
Jesus, thank you for being on the show with us.
Holy crap, it's Jesus Christ. Wait, Jesus?
Yeah.
He's still here.
Oh, he doesn't have video?
No, sorry.
No, he's got a video. What does it say? The ark is full. Poor guy.
I'm sorry, the ark is full. Jesus Christ, what's good? Yo, Jesus, I want to ask you, where in the hell did you find us?
You probably won't like it. I went onto Google Hangouts. There's like a page. I'll show you recent live Google Hangouts from Google or something, and I searched atheist, and I got yours. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my gosh!
It's like, wait, you were looking for atheist podcasts?
Yeah.
So, Jesus, if you're searching atheists, you got some explaining to do, man.
I'm basically a troll.
Do you know who Stan is? Stan's commenting right now, so how do you explain ICP, Jesus?
What's ICP?
I think Insane Clown Posse is who
I think he's referring to you saying that all music is created through you.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you explain that allowing ICP to create such
because I created the person that created that. And technically, I created the music.
That is fantastic. No, Jesus provided the opportunity and the person to make the music. The person decided to make the content that they chose to sing about.
Jesus, let me ask you something. You know, we here on Earth, we expected Jesus to sound like, well, different.
Yeah, a lot different, probably.
And you sound like a 21-year-old man.
Oh, thank you. I'm half that age.
11?
No, maybe a little, 15-ish.
15. So wait, you're a 15-year-old searching for a... Wait, what? Well, you're not supposed to be in school. What's going on?
School's been out for far too long. It's time to go back.
Yeah.
Where are you from, Jesus? Or like, where?
Canada.
Canada. You know, we have a lot of Canadian listeners on iTunes and Stitcher.
My wife has dual citizenship. What part of Canada are you from?
Vancouver.
Yeah, she was from Surrey, BC.
Oh, yeah, same here. Actually, I'm from Surrey, BC.
Holy shit! No way. You guys are near each other?
No, I don't know. Surrey's kind of a big place.
Well, dude, you know it's weird because you know you would think like My mind is being blown tonight because Jesus is on our podcast. Jesus found us through an atheist podcast. Wait, Jesus, let me ask you something. Why was our podcast listed under atheism?
Because Google's messed up, and they haven't fixed their site or anything. They throw it together. I searched a word, and I got thousands of replies. I just clicked one.
So you searched atheist, and Almost a Show podcast popped up.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, we share the same first letter.
I think it's You have actually come to the letters in it anyway.
Jesus, you're blowing my mind tonight because I would have expected this like rich, holy voice, and I didn't expect Jesus to be from Canada. You're blowing my mind tonight.
I'm sure I could find a voice editor that would make it a lot deeper.
Right. Well, I mean, Jesus, you're 15.
This is Jesus.
Jesus, when do you go back to school?
I homeschool. So.
Are you studying to be a carpenter?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you like the show as far as listening tonight?
Well, there's like people I kind of just joined recently, so.
I mean, you can tell me if it sucks. Like we talked about Michael Brown for a good 50 minutes today. It's probably
I don't know. I'm kind of lonely. I'm like, no one's here. I'm alone in the house. I'm bored.
Well, just wait a sec. You're alone in the house and you're bored, and you went to the Almost a Show podcast. Why not just look up porn?
Because
he's Jesus.
Because what?
Well, I'm in like a cult religion. We're not really supposed to do that. I mean, not saying I don't, but.
Wait a sec. You're in a cult religion. This is getting interesting. Like, wait, what kind of cult religion are you in? Atheist?
Well, it is technically classified. It's Jehovah's Witness.
Okay, so you don't.
Yeah.
So wait, you atheism? Don't believe in Jesus, right?
No, I'm an atheist.
Okay.
But my family is a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, if you don't know people that are Jehovah's Witness, and I'm sure there's a lot of great Jehovah's Witness out there. My brief experience though is that it's not easy to step up and say this isn't something that I'm down with.
It's not. It really isn't. Yeah. The penalties you do get if you do that are pretty harsh.
So you decided to say like F the whole
well, no, I mean, not really a lot of people know this. I mean, I think a lot of people on the internet know me very well, and then there's about maybe 3 to 4 people in real life that sort of know.
When you say people on the internet know you really well, like they know you as Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'm really thinking of changing my name because I'm thinking of having like a YouTube channel or something in the future, but I'm not really sure yet.
I think you should keep it as Jesus Christ. And I don't know how long YouTube is going to let you keep it as Jesus Christ.
No, technically it's correct because I mean Jesus is a name. They asked for my first name. I was like, oh, this is it. And Christ is the name too.
Wait, on Facebook, are you Jesus Christ?
On Facebook, I'm Devin Duke, which is my fake name.
Do you realize this, Jay? Like, we found out Jesus' real name is Devin.
Right.
He's from Canada.
Yeah.
And he's an atheist.
Yep.
Mind is blown.
We got a lot of.
Do you call a garbage disposal a garburator?
Yeah, for the sink. Yeah.
Hey, so what's funny is that a lot of Canadians listen to shouts to Stan. He's from Ontario, Canada.
That's funny.
It's funny because I'm in South Carolina here in the States with Jay from Seattle, Washington in the States, but we always get a lot of Canadians listening, and then we always get a lot of overseas people listening. I think we have about 3,000 people on Twitter that interact with us. The whole YouTube thing is new to us. I'm not used to being on TV. I suck at it. That's why I have a beard. I'm trying to disguise myself because I'm so ugly. Jesus, can I ask you that question? Why did you make me so ugly?
Make a what?
Well, I said, you being Jesus Christ, you created me.
Yeah.
Why did you make me so ugly?
Well, no, there's a million infinite amounts of different, well, not infinite, but the amount of versions of you. I mean, you really don't look like yourself. You technically look like an altered version of your father, so it's not really my fault that you spent a little extra time in the sun. You got a little bit too much UVs and then alter your DNA or something, and then you're born, now you look like that, so it's not my fault.
Jesus, I'll actually go ahead and agree with you about that. That it's my dad's fault. A lot of things in life are my dad's fault. Hey, so Jesus, we're wrapping up the show tonight. Usually we're done about, I don't know, 3 hours before this, but it's been a long fucking night. Excuse me, a long freaking night. Sorry, Jesus.
I don't care.
Well, you invented the word, so.
Yeah.
There was a kid that was in Tennessee that was suspended in school for saying "bless you" for some girl sneezed and the girl said.
That's retarded. And people that tried to make atheist communities in school, for instance, they'll get kicked out and suspended. Like it's almost the opposite. I mean, I'm actually not allowed to say "bless you" either.
And you're Jesus Christ, and you're not allowed to.
Yeah, like I'm in a Jehovah's Witness family, and I'm not allowed to say that because apparently the origins are creepy. But I mean, that's Jehovah's Witness for you. Everything that isn't Jehovah's Witness is not allowed.
Stan joining in tonight, commenting on YouTube. You can do it as well. We're live, 11 p.m. East, 8 p.m. on the pot-smoking West Coast. We are joined by Jesus Christ himself, and also Stan commenting on YouTube saying, no religion is easy to get away from. It's the whole point of religion, to suck you in and make you think their way is better, the best way. And he also says that he has family in South Carolina. Yo, what's up? SC in the building. Greenville, upstate. That's where I'm from. So, Stan, if you want to let me know where your family's from, we can link up, do some vodka shots, the whole deal. Jesus, you like vodka?
Yeah.
You shouldn't. You're 15.
15. In Canada, it's different. You can start drinking
maybe in
super
Mexico.
young.
So, wait, in Canada, how old are you able to drink?
I think it's 18, isn't it?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah, I think it's 18.
We have one viewer on YouTube. I can guess who it is.
Stan.
Stan the man.
Stan the man.
Oh, wait, it says Jesus is a Jehovah's atheist.
Yeah.
A Jehovan atheist, yeah.
Yeah.
Jehovan.
What's your, you're a carpenter, Jesus. What's your favorite thing to build?
A chair.
Why the chair, Jesus Christ?
It's the only thing I know how to build.
We gotta get you into some desks or like a deck for a house.
No, I invented the chair.
Yeah, that is true, man. You're quite up there, man. So what do you think about the whole Michael Brown thing, Jesus Christ? I mean, that's a sad thing, Michael Brown. Have you heard much about this, Jesus?
Michael Brown, isn't he like a singer or something?
Yes, he's a singer.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he's
Michael Brown. I'm not good with names. I'm Googling.
It's okay. Trust me, don't Google it because it's only going to either waste your time or it's going to give you all the wrong information. The United States is dealing with
protesters pray outside grand jury. What the?
Yeah, you read up on that or watch the beginning of this podcast. You'll know. Jesus, seriously, we appreciate you listening and to hopefully you'll now watch a little more.
Yeah.
Stan.
Yeah.
Stan would randomly like to say 19.
That's the drinking age.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 18, 19.
But anyway, I seriously, hopefully Jesus Christ will listen a little more. I'm honored that Jesus Christ. I like to just say Jesus Christ over and over, not just Jesus, not just Christ. I like to say. Sometimes I do say Jesus fucking Christ, and I'm sorry about that. I just want to apologize.
I don't care.
That's a bad one.
Jesus Christ is I kind of like him a lot more now. Like I was a little skeptical at first through the whole religion thing, but now if this is how Jesus talks. He's from Canada. He doesn't say Jesus fucking Christ, and
no, I mean I'm okay with people swearing. I don't really care. I mean I was born in a family that doesn't swear at all, so I mean I've only said the S word once and that's it. And
wait, you don't cuss?
I mean I probably would if I hit my toe really hard, but so far I haven't.
Can you hit your toe?
No, don't do it. Don't listen to Sean.
I want to hear Jesus cuss. Come on.
And I like how this dynamic is set up too. Jesus right in the middle, and you got Sean on one shoulder saying, "Go ahead and stub your toe, Jesus. Let it out." And I'm over here "No, don't do it. Just stick with it."
That's hilarious.
I just I want to hear 15-year-old Jesus say shit.
You're like devil's advocate. What the heck?
Yeah.
I'm not. Stan finally on YouTube says bongs.
Because he keeps hearing the email pop up every time somebody posts a comment. I get an email, and all the audio from the computer's routed through here.
Yeah, I don't want to hold you guys this time if you want to leave, though.
No, you're fine. We're actually wrapping up the show, but Jesus, if we want to have you back on the show, throughout the year, can we contact you for guest appearances?
Sure. I mean, you can comment on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, Jesus, plug away. You're on the show. Put whatever you want. What do you want people to go to for you?
Well, no, I don't have a thing, but I mean, if you want to contact me, you can message on my YouTube channel.
And
But
I
I might not be on very much because when I do go on YouTube, it's pretty late. Maybe usually around midnight-ish. That's because I have 2 YouTube accounts. I have this one, and then I have like my normal everyday YouTube that I watch my normal subscriptions and stuff. Then I have this one where I troll as Jesus, and then I also watch a whole bunch of cult documentaries and anti-cult stuffs and stuff that I can't watch around my family.
So, Jesus, and by cults you mean lots of porn?
No. Well, yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah. Hey, he was like googling like big boobs, and for some reason, Almost a Show podcast came up.
Yep.
Well, Jesus, we want to have you on. I think the perfect time to have Jesus on again would be Christmas time. I mean, if you're down, I'm down. Or Halloween? Are you anti-Halloween, Jesus?
Oh yeah. Well, no, like my family. I haven't done a single Halloween thing yet, but
why don't you when you turn 18? Are you gonna leave your family like, yo, I'm gonna go and dress like Peter?
I'm debating what I'm going to do. I don't know, but I'd love to try a Halloween.
So you've never trick or treated?
Nope.
Man, I gotta talk to your family, man.
You really do not know a whole lot about the Jehovah's Witness.
I don't.
Yeah,
man.
I haven't trick or treated or did a Christmas or birthday or anything.
Don't you think that's why like people like opt out of religion altogether? Because people just force people to be something that they don't want to be.
I don't think it's usually that. I don't think it's usually a direct reason. I think how religion is built up, it has to be it's almost a very specific thing that happens.
So wait, do you go around the doors and knock on the doors and try to get people to like?
I used to, and I was terrified at it.
What was the worst thing that happened when you were on the doors? Like, did people like try to throw shit at you? I have 2 things. What happened?
Almost every other day out in service, you would have a dog that would just like run at you and just like, and you're like 6 or 8 or whatever, and it would like push you down and.
Holy crap.
I developed a fear of dogs from being out in service because of that. Then there was another time, which is like maybe around the last time I went on service, which was a couple of years ago. And it was an older guy, and he had no pants.
Wait, when he opened the door?
Yep, he was naked.
What did he say?
Or just like, oh, okay, we'll talk to you later then. And he was like, he's older, and then we just like closed the door.
Oh, why don't you come on in here? Let's talk about things.
Yeah, I think he was more of like, I think he did it on purpose to kind of be like, don't talk to me ever again sort of thing.
Jesus. I mean, that's like seriously, like, Jesus Christ, that's bad. Well, dude, seriously, we appreciate you coming on to the show, and hopefully, now that we got your contact information, we can contact you.
But just like, I mean, when I'm on, it's usually when it's late at night, and I usually can't do this type of thing, so when I can call, it's probably going to be in the day when they're at their Kingdom Hall.
Kingdom Hall. Well, man, so we do the show Wednesdays, 11 p.m. East, 8 p.m. West. I don't know if Jesus Christ deals with time zones. You'd probably make your own up for all that cares.
Yeah.
But dude, seriously, watch the show. You can listen to it on iTunes and Stitcher, and we will definitely keep in touch with you, Jesus. Thanks so much for calling in. All right.
Thanks, Jesus.
All right.
Thanks, Jesus.
See ya.
And there you go.
That's how you wrap up a show.
That's how you wrap up a show.
With Jesus Christ on the phone. What? You sat back there for the last couple of minutes. You didn't say anything. Were you mad at me because I took over the Jesus Christ story?
No, I wasn't. I just don't have anything to add to the story. I feel bad for the kid.
Yeah,
I do. Like, I honestly do. Like, my heart goes out.
Well, because he had to open the door and the guy with his pants down.
No, just because, I mean, that'd just be a real crappy situation to be, you feel like you don't have any outlets, and I don't know, I just kind of felt bad. Heart started to get big.
God, you have a heart?
Yeah, it's in there sometimes. But that's just sad. He's like, yeah, I can't do this, I can't do that, and he's obviously searching for something.
Jesus likes to build bongs.
No.
Did I click the right one?
No.
No, that's what it says. Jesus.
No, but the bongs are from the emails that keep coming in.
No, like it's not clicking. Look, okay, that's how we know we have to go because fucking YouTube isn't working right. We appreciate. Well, first off, we'd like to thank Google Hangout for putting us in the atheist category on.
Thanks, Google.
Google Hangout. I don't know why that was. We do appreciate all the viewers that commented in our pants. That's what we like. we like that Jesus Christ opened up a door and there was a man with no pants.
Right.
Fucking scary. It was.
We did a 2-hour podcast tonight.
We did do a 2-hour podcast. Good luck trying to put that on Podbean because
that ain't happening.
Hopefully we can put it up. Well, we'll put it up at the end of the month.
Yeah. Or we can switch.
Yeah, we'll switch. But anyway, we appreciate everybody joining the Almost a Show podcast. That's going to do it for us this week. And, of course, you can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, and TuneIn on your smart device, iPad, iPhone, whatever you got. Take care of it. And also, everything you need to know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And make sure to hit subscribe on our YouTube channel. All of it at almostashow.com. And remember, hold on, got to do one more thing. And remember, if you shop at Amazon,
hey, there you go.
To almostashow.com before. Don't go to Amazon.com. It's broken or something. I don't know what's going on with it. Make sure to shop Amazon at almostashow.com down there on the bottom of the page. Jay, you got anything else you'd like to add before? Like, as we're getting off, we're getting 1,000 views.
How many views are we up to?
We have like 300 million.
No, we do not.
We have like 13.
The population of the United States.
Well,
to all 13 viewers, thank you so much for, dude. It seems like the glory hour is like 9 West.
I think we might have to move it again.
That's when people are bored enough to sit back and watch our two faces babble on about nonsense.
Anyway, I feel bad because it's 1 o'clock here.
I don't feel bad. It's only 10 o'clock here.
You know what? Go after yourself.
Night is young.
Jay, seriously, you're the best. I'm going to try to learn how to get out of here. I guess you're going to play something to lead us out.
I got us.
And until next time, you can always view any of the shows on demand. And also hit subscribe on our YouTube channel at almostashow.com. Jay, I'm out. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.
The Almost a Show podcast is absolutely not brought to you by Starbucks, home of the salted caramel macchiato, a delicious treat for a cold winter morning.
Another corporate location smart enough to distance themselves